Pregame.com.
I'm Vegas Runner here with Brian Leonard. Going to break down a huge SEC matchup. Vandy at Kentucky. Vanderbilt has revenge. Kentucky did go into Vandy and beat them on a Saturday night. I remember watching that game. I had Vandy, and Kentucky blew them out in the first half. Vandy made a game of it, kind of tied it up, maybe took a point lead, and it was right there where you thought, you know what, getting 4.5 points, I had gotten 5 points. I thought I'd get the cover, but what happens? Kentucky hits those free throws, and one thing leads to another. They win by 6, get the cover. Now Vandy's traveling to Kentucky. I made my line 13. You made it 12. 14. We got in the middle, 13.5. I think that's about right. Got to lean to Kentucky. I think they're the best team in the country. I really, right now, can't see who's going to beat them. And obviously, once the tournament seedings come up, we're all going to handicap the matchups. But right now, looking at the top 15 teams in college basketball, I'm not sure anyone really matches up too well against them. I mean, anyone could have a bad night, but just matchup-wise, I think they're going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, they are. They've got a very good offense, and their defense is really good, especially down low. Last time these two played was in Vandy, very strong home court.
Yeah.
They held Vandy to 37% shooting on the road. The one thing you have to worry about Kentucky is they're very young, and they have a problem with lapses of concentration a lot of times.
Yeah.
You talked about earlier at Vandy. Last week when they played Mississippi State, I believe
How did they win that game?
We did a video in that game. I did basically right on the number. But they were way down in the first half, and I think that may help them here. Because once a team that has that kind of talent plays the previous game and has a long period where they don't play well and they start to think, you know, could we lose this game? I think that reinforces their output for the next game. So I think that's going to help us here. And you've got a Vandy team who has to hit from the outside here. I don't see them scoring inside. When you're playing on the road and you have to hit your threes, I mean, how often does that happen? If it happens, it's more of a fluke thing. If you couldn't do it at home, why would you be able to do it on the road? Inside game for Kentucky is so much better than Vanderbilt. I would much rather have a team who doesn't turn the ball over like Kentucky, and they defend very well inside, play very well themselves inside with the ball. So you've got a team that has less chances of making a mistake. You don't turn the ball over. You're not shooting a lot of three-pointers. You don't have to, because you should be able to dominate inside.
That's why I'm so impressed with Kentucky, because they're such a young team. You look at a team like Vandy, as far as experience-wise, they're in the top 25 in college basketball. And you got to remember, academically, Vanderbilt's a good school. So these kids are going there for an education, not just to play basketball. So that's why you have a lot of juniors, a lot of seniors. But the way Kentucky was able to overcome that game at Vandy, when Vandy made a run, and you're talking about, you know, you got experience, you got a tough home crowd, it's such a difficult place to play, you had a big lead, all of a sudden the home team catches up and gets ahead and wasn't able to close it out. On the one side, I was watching Kentucky the last few games, and I was thinking, is this team starting to get content to where they know even behind nobody could beat us? Like, all we have to do is play for 20 minutes and we could beat anyone in college basketball. And I think that's a recipe for disaster in the tournament where it's one and done. You know, you go home when you lose. There's no tomorrow. But I think they have such a good head coach. And when it gets to that tournament time, I just think he's going to do what it takes to keep this team focused. In this spot, I know it's dangerous laying this kind of price, but I don't think it's enough. I think Kentucky turns this into a blowout. They're 17-0 at home. I think they want to defend their home court. There hasn't been much value betting them this year. You know, for a team that's 27-1, you're not going to make money betting them. They're only 10-16-1 against the spread, so you're not making money backing them. But I think in a spot like this where they're so heavily favored, you know, as far as chalk being up there, I don't think the books are going to be all that one-sided. I think Vanderbilt catching 13, 14 points, 12 points around that range, I wouldn't be surprised if the books end up with balanced action on that game.
Yeah, I think a lot of the wise guys will come in on the dog here. You got a quality underdog and you're getting double digits, something
Right.
a lot of us take a look at. Kentucky, you know, they only have Georgia on deck. and their season's about to end here. They've got the conference tournament, so we'll get into that. I know that's your strength, so we'll be able to make a lot of money off of that. But there's no look ahead here for Kentucky, and they played such a tight game. You know, even though they won that game, they only win by 6, so on the road. So I don't think they're going to overlook Vanderbilt at all. And Vanderbilt, as you said, a veteran team. The coach will have Kentucky prepared, knowing that Vandy wants to get their revenge for that home loss. So I like Kentucky here, and I think as opposed to when they played Mississippi State, I think we get a full game effort here.
I agree. Both myself and Brian say back the #1 team in the country, Wildcats, on Saturday. Don't forget, go to pregamevideos.com. All the videos in one thread, along with analysis and conversation on the games. Let us know what you think. Is there anyone out there that can beat the Wildcats come March Madness? I don't think so.